David here with Figboot on Pens, back again with another fountain pen review. Today I have something I feel is very interesting. It is the first release from Narwhal in their Ikkaku line, which is going to focus on higher-end artisan offerings. And the first release in this line is called the Ye-Yu. What I'm going to do today is go over the parts and features of the Ye-Yu, talk about what I care for and what I don't care for about the pen. I'll show some measurements, size comparisons, and provide a writing sample. Thanks go out to the good folks at Narwhal for providing this pen on loan for review. It's been very interesting to see how Narwhal has grown as a brand and a company over these last few years. At first, they only offered lower cost entry-level demonstrators. Then they stepped up their game with the Nautilus design made from ebonite or custom resins. They've partnered with a large number of retailers on some very interesting exclusive offerings as well. They've come a long way from that first DC show where they launched their original demonstrator. The pen arrives in this nice wood box. It has Ikkaku by Narwhal on the top here. Ikkaku is the Japanese word for narwhal, as well as being a character in the Japanese anime Bleach, but I'm pretty certain that that character has no association with this pen. The lid lifts off, and inside we have a couple of things. We have a warranty card, and then nestled in here nicely, we have the pen. Let me get this out here. And this is the Narwhal Ikkaku Ye-Yu. This is a limited edition, but I'm uncertain how many pens will be in the run. This pen has a cigar shape and is based on the same design as the Narwhal Nautilus, minus the porthole ink windows. I believe the base is ebonite, and then it is covered in an urushi lacquer. The distinguishing feature of the pen is the beautiful inlaid disc-shaped Raiden on the top of the cap and more prominently in the middle section of the pen. The Raiden is meant to mimic the feathers of the nightingale. That would be appropriate since the name of the pen, Ye-Yu, translates from Mandarin Chinese as night feather. I like the shape of this Raiden. It's just something different that I hadn't seen on many other Raiden pens. But I also like that the non-Raiden portion of this pen has little flecks of red. It's a very nuanced look. The distribution of this red will differ from pen to pen, but I feel that it complements the Raiden nicely and adds a kind of an extra element of subtle color. I like it better than if the non-Raiden portions were just a straight black. Let's take a look at the top of the cap. It is rounded and encircled with the aforementioned Raiden. It's a really nice look. This transitions into a semicircular clip. Even though I personally prefer silver-colored trim, I feel the gold trim fits well with the overall look of this pen. The clip functions well in materials of varying thicknesses. The cap is straight. There's no traditional band or external branding on this pen, which I feel was a wise decision. At the end of the cap, we have a medium-sized step down to the barrel, which is straight. And then at the end of the barrel, like the top of the cap, it is rounded, but devoid of any Raiden. And I feel the decision to leave the Raiden off the end of the barrel was a good one. Omitting it from this end really prevents the pen from looking too matchy-matchy. The cap twists off in just under 2 rotations. And underneath, we have a number 6 14-karat gold nib, which Narwhal produces in-house. This nib is available in either fine or medium. You'll see in the writing sample, but I've been very impressed with the quality and performance of Narwhal's in-house gold nibs. Getting a gold nib right can be difficult, but it's something that they've really done well. I like this nib stamping as well, with the playful narwhal surrounded by an ocean motif. And here's a look at the plastic feed. The section begins with a flare. I believe this section is plastic. It angles up slightly before you reach the plastic threads and a medium-sized step up to the remainder of the barrel. The cap is not designed to post, which is fine. The pen is plenty long enough to use unposted and is very well balanced. I also like the fact that the exterior of the pen is very smooth. I've seen other Raiden pens where the portions where Raiden is applied is a bit bumpy, but that's not the case with this pen. It's quality craftsmanship. This is a cartridge converter pen. It accepts standard international cartridges and a converter is provided. With the lack of internal metal parts, with the appropriate precautions, this would make it for a very nice eyedropper with a large ink capacity. The Narwhal Ikkaku is available from a number of retailers and sells for $799. I believe this is the most expensive pen produced under the Narwhal name, but taking into consideration the materials, the quality craftsmanship, and the unique look to this pen, while that is expensive, I don't feel that the price is grossly out of line compared to other brands producing high-quality Urushi and Raiden models. I care for the Nautilus design. I feel the Raiden work is well done and looks really nice. The red speckles are a nice touch as well. And on top of that, as you'll see in the writing sample, the nib performs very well. Overall, this is a quality offering with a lot to like. Okay, now it is time for some measurements, size comparisons, and the aforementioned writing sample. Here we go with some size comparisons for the Narwhal Ikkaku Ye-Yu. I wanted to give you another closer look at this material. I think the Raiden is really well done here. And then the red flecks are just really subtle. Some of them almost even look a little bit gold. But I just think that that was a nice touch as opposed to having it just like a straight black. I mentioned it was based on the Nautilus model. This is one of the original Nautilus models. And then in regard to a couple of other Narwhal pens, here it is with an original demonstrator. And then this is the original demonstrator plus. And then finally, this is the Schuylkill. And that's what they all look like together. And then in regard to some non-Narwhal pens, here it is with a Platinum 3776 Yamanaka and a Lamy 2000. And then finally, here it is with one of my other favorite Raiden pens, which is a Pilot Vanishing Point. And this is the Raiden Water Surface. And that's what they look like together. In regard to some uncapped comparisons, this is what it looks like with the 3776 Yamanaka and the Lamy 2000. And then this was the original demonstrator. Here we go with the writing sample for the Narwhal Ikkaku, which is Ikkaku, and this pen is called the Ye-Yu. And this is a medium gold nib. And the ink I use is one of my favorites, which is Pilot Iroshizuku Yamabudo. This is what the color looks like. It's a really nice kind of magenta purpley. I like matching it up with a lot of Raiden pens. It just looks really nice coming out of them. This is what it looks like in comparison to Diplomat Purple, as well as Private Reserve Plum. This is what the bottle looks like. It's one of my favorite bottles, and it's tough to see since it's moving around, but I only have maybe about a quarter of this, maybe even 20% left. So I'm getting close to finishing this bottle, which is always a sense of accomplishment. And here we go with the rest of the writing sample. I find the Narwhal's gold nibs are very nice. They are decently smooth with just a touch of feedback. You can see you can get a fair amount of line variation out of this. I don't want to push it too hard. But it's fairly smooth, like I said. The ink flow for a medium nib is decent. In regard to reverse writing, it's very smooth reverse-wise. And then in regard to some fast writing, the feed keeps up just fine. So there we have the Narwhal Ikkaku Ye-Yu. As I mentioned before, it's been interesting to see how Narwhal has progressed as a company and how they first started coming out with $50 demonstrator pens, and now they're up into something that is significantly more than that. But then also it's a significant higher quality as well. And I was pleased with how this one turned out. I like it a lot. So until next time, thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you later.